Hi, this is Christian Cantrell for Watch Report, and today I want to show you the Casio G-Shock GXW-56, specifically the 1BJF. This is Casio's newest G-Shock, or one of their newest G-Shocks, and its claim to fame is that it is the biggest G-Shock ever made, bigger even than the Frogman. And you can see this is just a massive timepiece. The theory behind it is that Casio wants G-Shock to remain one of the biggest, boldest watches out there. And as watches have gotten bigger, as fashion has dictated, then Casio has to sort of not just keep up, but kind of outdo the competition by having one of the biggest watches out there. So this watch is about 55.5 millimeters from at the longest point here across the case. It's about 53.6 millimeters in this dimension and 17.5 millimeters high. So it is a massive watch, and I'll show it to you next to some other watches to give you a perspective. This is also a G-Shock. This is the GXW-5600, which I've also reviewed for Watch Report. And you can see how much bigger the new one is. The sort of head-to-head here, you can see how much thicker it is, how much taller it's going to sit on your wrist. And this, you know, at one point this had been a very big, or relatively big G-Shock. Never huge. I mean, this isn't, by today's standards, it's not a huge G-Shock, but it's a decent-sized one. And next to this one, it just looks, you know, diminutive. Here's a comparison with a Seiko that I reviewed recently. You can see there's just no comparison here. Now these are just very different kinds of watches, so this isn't, you know, exactly sort of a fair or logical comparison, but just to give you some context. So I'll go ahead and put it on and show you how it looks on the wrist. You can see that it kind of hard to get a good shot. The photographs on the site will give you sort of a better idea of what it looks like on the wrist, but you can see that it kind of stands up nicely. Now, is it too big? I don't think that it is. I actually like this. I like the direction that Casio is going. I like the you know, big, sort of bold, prominent presence that this watch has on your wrist. It doesn't bother me. People will notice it. People will probably comment. I know that they've commented on mine the other day. I was in the AT&T store, and it managed to start a conversation with someone else who was in there, and we talked for a while, and he was sort of a watch fan as well, and so we just talked about watches. And you know, it's going to get people's attention. I catch people looking at it. Another friend of mine noticed it the other day. We were working on my car, and he looked down at my wrist, and he said, "Man, those G-Shocks sure have gotten big." And you know, we kind of left it at that. It wasn't, you know, how do you lift your arm or anything like that. It was just, wow, you know, I really noticed that's an unusually large watch. So for me, you know, as I wrote in the review, it's kind of more of a good thing. I really like G-Shocks, and this is just more G-Shock than G-Shock has typically been. So you can see it's a very sort of classic G-Shock look, and it's just sort of all of that multiplied and you know, sort of augmented. So including its shock resistance. They didn't just sort of make a bigger case that was hollow. It also has increased shock resistance because of something called A-gel or alpha gel, which is used in ASICS running shoes, ASICS gels running shoes, to give the module a little bit of additional shock resistance. So it's not, you know, just completely sort of superfluous size. I mean, there's additional cushioning in there to make the this new generation of G-Shock even more shock resistant. This is the Japanese version, which is multi-band atomic. The US version that is sold here by Casio is not atomic. It is solar, though. They are both solar. So this one's solar. This one is multiband atomic, multiband 6, which means that it receives time calibration signals in the U.S., Japan, Germany, UK, China, and both of the from both the transmitters in Japan. 200-meter water resistant, which is typically what you find on the on G-Shocks, which is about 660 feet. It also has sort of an interesting button structure here. It has this rubber coating, sort of a molded rubber coating around the pushers, which are nice and big and very easy to grip. And the rubber coating makes it sort of mud and dust resistant. It keeps particles from penetrating. The pushers are a good place for water and debris to get into the case of the watch, and the molded rubber that this model has helps keep everything out. So it has electroluminescent backlight, which you sort of would expect to see on these types of digital watches. I'll go ahead and go through the different modes. The first one is world time. It has 31 time zones with 48 cities, including UTC, which is really nice. I like this. It has 4 alarms. 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a snooze alarm, plus the hourly chime. Stopwatch with a resolution of 1/100th of a second. Timer, which goes up to 24 hours, countdown timer. And those are sort of the most common features you expect to see on G-Shocks these days. Of course, it has a perpetual calendar, which is pre-programmed up to 2099. It has what I call I don't think anybody else calls it this, but I call it the double barrel buckle. So you can see it has 2 pins that go through, which I think a watch of this magnitude really kind of needs. And I'll give you a shot of the case back here as well. So I really like this watch. I think, as I said earlier, the best way to describe it is it's just more of a good thing. It's more G-Shock, which to me is always a good thing because I'm a big fan. So if you're looking for something big and bold and prominent, and you're a G-Shock fan, you like this look, you might want to give this one a try. Thanks for watching.